So I was cleaning up my little cuartito, you know, where I have my little TV, my games, my little collection. It's like a small little corner that we made into a room. And I had no idea that I had a bunch of fucking burnt CDs that I remember burning, probably about 10 years ago, maybe 11, maybe even more, to be quite honest. It's a bunch of fucking burnt CDs. And I wanted to kind of go through them. I don't know how YouTube is with music. Maybe I can play a few seconds. Hopefully they don't really get on my ass about it, because I really want to go through this with y'all. So let's get to it. Let's see what's in these fucking bad boys here. All right, let's put this in here. Let's check this out. Whoo, that is a slapper. For those of you who played GTA San Andreas, that might have been the first time you heard that record. But I remember hearing it way back in the day, probably like, I don't know, it was probably like 10, 11 years old, like in 2000, 2001. But I don't know, man. That is a jam. That shit right there gets me hyped. That shit makes me want to be like, on the fucking rug and shit. Like, All right, so let's check track 2. I need to take these off and shit. That song is a slapper. When did it come out? Like 2000, 2001 or something like that? I don't know, man. But I just remember hearing that shit on the radio. And man, I had to pull out the little tape, put that bitch in a boombox and record it on the radio station when they had the DJ talking over it and shit. That right there is one of my favorite Ludacris tracks. If not one of my favorite hip hop tracks, man, that shit really does go hard. Whereas E40 would say, that is a blap. All right, so let's check track 3. Hip hop's a die before I wake up. Put an extra in the clip inside of my AK. Roll at every station. There's like a controversy around this record. You know, during the chorus, he goes, if hip hop's to die before I wake up, put an extra clip inside of my AK, roll at every station, murder the DJ. And obviously, you know, who's gonna fucking play that? You know, the DJs are the one mixing the fucking records and shit. But I mean, it's not a statement. That's not so much about the DJ, you know, it's just about, at that time, the shit that they were just putting out on the radio. I don't think it was really a threat to the DJs, just kind of the way, you know, hip hop is. But you know, DJs are going to take it the way that they do it. And, you know, they didn't really like that too much. The song is pretty dope, though. It shit does slap. Okay, pues, miramos cuál sigue. Track number 4. Woo! Y'all ain't ready for this, man. Y'all are not ready for this shit. Listen to that beat drop. Page and Dr. Octagon. Dr. Octagon, do you copy? I'm telling you, that song is a fucking blapper. If you haven't heard of Dr. Octagon, if there's any song you need to hear of Dr. Octagon or Cool Keith, whatever you want to call him, you gotta listen to Earth People. It's a sample from Houdini's Friends, but man, I'm telling you, this shit is fucking bonkers. It is fucking bananas. That shit just goes sick. I wish I can fucking play the whole track to you guys, because I'm telling you, man, this shit is just sick. If there's anything, you need to pause the video right now, look up Earth People, Dr. Octagon on YouTube, and play it, dude. I'm telling you, and put it on a fucking whatever good speakers you have. Go to the fucking car, look that shit up, hook it up to the aux, Bluetooth, whatever. Bump that shit. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Okay, pues sigue el 5. Let's fucking do track number 5. I go on and on, can't understand how I last so long. I remember specifically that song. I was in my room. It was probably like in 8th grade, and I was listening to the radio, and at that time I was still recording shit off like the little tapes, just because I had a bunch of tapes. I still had my old radio from back in the day, so I was like, you know what, every time I find a cool song, I can only listen to it in my room, so it didn't fucking matter anyway. It's not like I can take it to the car and shit, like have that memory, just because like I was listening to that fucking Jay-Z song and that shit went hard, so I was recording that one and I just let the DJ talk. Usually I stop it and then let the song start again, but I was like, nah, if this is some new Too Short, I'm gonna let that shit play. And man, I wasn't disappointed. That was one of my favorite tapes. I wish I could have saved them, but that's my memory of that song, man. And that shit is a slapper. That shit is fire at the clubs, probably, man. It's just like, All right, so let's go to track number 6. Woo, hopefully YouTube lets me drop the beat. Come on. Come on. Damn. Man, Mac 10, bro, like I feel like he's hella underrated when it comes to like West Coast artists. People usually probably just involve him with West Side Connection, right? Just like, oh, that's you, that's Ice Cube's homeboy. He's one of those universal artists, I feel, you know, kind of like E40 and Too Short, for example. Like they did tracks with fools in the South, fools in the East, you know, all over the fucking country. And they don't really get as much respect, you know, nobody ever puts like their names up there with the greats, you know what I mean? I guess because they haven't passed away, which is unfortunate, but nah, man. Mac 10, that song right... I'm over here getting all hyped up and shit. Let's go to track number 7 to see what's good. I'm liking this so far, you know what I mean? Let's go to track number 7. Watch the Throne, man, is one of, it's an interesting album. It's not my favorite. It's not the greatest, but there's some tracks on there that just gets me like, just hype. It's one of those albums that has a good amount of tracks that you can use at the gym, whether you're working on some, whether you're cleaning the house or and whatnot. But this one in particular, it's the last track on the album, Watch the Throne. And I'm telling you, man, like when I heard it, I was like, dude, like this shit right here is why I fucking love Kanye West. But honestly, Jay-Z killed that song, but that beat, Kanye's all over that shit. And if anything, Kanye just killed the whole fucking album with the fucking beats, man. It's fire. All right, let's go to track number 8. Man, one of my favorite Game albums has to be The Doctor's Advocate. Documentary was cool, but to me personally, I feel like it's too mainstream. If you haven't heard Game and there's one album that you should think like, what should I listen to start listening to some Game, I suggest listening to Doctor's Advocate, because that right there is a fucking slapper, especially if you love that West Coast sound. Like that shit has some West Coast bangers, I'm telling you, man. All right, so let's peep track 9 now. Slaughterhouse, man. Slaughterhouse has so much potential. They did release a good amount of songs. I'm a huge fan. It's unfortunate that they didn't blow up the way that they should have been, but then you know, there's a lot of mistakes in hip-hop that kind of happened. Same thing with NWA. They split apart before they can even become the biggest fucking thing in the world, but they still made their mark, and I think Slaughterhouse did the same thing. Not much to say, you know what I mean? Slaughterhouse, they're dope, their wordplay is dope, the song is fucking a slapper. I feel like they killed it better than Lil Wayne and Drake, to be quite honest with you, but that's just my opinion. All right, so let's go to track 10. Another Ludacris banger. I remember seeing it, I believe it was on TRL when I first fucking seen it. You know, it was a video when he's walking in the club and he has a fucking, I don't know what the proper word, you can't really say the word. He has a small guy hanging off his necklace. You know, he says it in the lyric, and then there's a baby like fucking dancing. I guess like the single moms out there dropping their babies off at the fucking daycare center at the club and shit. I don't know, man. Ludacris is funny as hell, man. He does a lot of funny ass shit in his videos. Even in his records, his skits are pretty funny. All right, so let's go to track 11. Man, Mos Def, Black on Both Sides, is one of my favorite fucking albums. The way that I listen to albums is I don't skip, right? I put that fucker in and let it play from track 1 to whenever the fuck it ends, because I want to hear the whole album in total. If you're gonna skip through it, what the fuck is the point of buying the album? Now that I put that album in, I can listen to that shit in total. I love that shit. And Speed Law is one of my favorite tracks on that album. That shit slaps. All right, track 12. Track 12. Let's move it forward. Let's see how much we have left. Man, if there's any diss track, like, there has to be a debate, right? Like, I mean, this debate goes on always. What's the hardest diss track? What's the meanest? What's the most ruthless? I think many of us would agree that Tupac's Hit 'Em Up is up there. The most disrespectful album, in my opinion. I simply hate that fucking song. Not because it's not a fucking like hard ass track, nah, because it is super aggressive and shit is hard. That beat slaps, but it's just so fucking disrespectful, bro. Like it almost upsets me. Game Game just went hard on that song. If you haven't heard that song, dude, I'm telling you, like, you're missing out on one of my personal, if not the best, like, diss tracks in hip hop. All right, moving on to 13. All right. All right, we all know that song is fucking classic. We all know. What can I say to say that Today Was a Good Day is not one of the hardest fucking hip hop tracks? It's chill. They even put it on San Andreas. You know, we're all fucking cruising around Los Santos, fucking listening to some fucking Los Santos radio, bumping that shit. I mean, we all had our experiences with that song, and what can we say? What can I say? It's a classic. If you haven't listened to it, what the fuck you doing? Track 14. To Live and Die in LA. It makes me, I'm not from LA. I'm from the Central Valley in Cali. It makes you wish that you were born in LA, you know what I mean? And if not, the song makes you feel as if you are from LA, which is kind of weird. It's the same way that somebody explained nostalgia to you. And even though you never experienced the 80s or the 70s or whatnot, but the way that they explain it, the way that they viewed cartoons on Saturdays and shit, it almost feels like you were part of it. And To Live and Die in LA is one of those tracks that just makes you feel like you were a fucking LA native, you know what I mean? Shout out to all that people in LA, man. We love you here in SenCal. All right, so let's go to track 15. I think this is the last one. Man. KRS One is one of the fucking pioneers of hip hop, all right? And that track there, it just goes hard. I didn't grow up listening to that. When I started listening to hip hop back in the day, the first tracks that I got influenced by had to be Eazy-E's Easy Does It, No More Questions, Ice Cube, Today Was a Good Day. Like those tracks like that, like the classic West Coast tracks is what influenced me into hip hop. I had no idea of like the East Coast shit. I didn't know where it came from. I just knew that I just liked rap music. It wasn't until later my cousin, he's more hip hop influential. He was more savvy to the hip hop world, and he started showing me the Fugees and Mos Def and fucking Jedi Mind Tricks. I started looking up on my own. I started looking up different artists, East Coast rappers, and I came across Boogie Down Productions. I remember going on LimeWire and I looked up KRS One, and that was the first song that I fucking downloaded from him, and I don't know, man, I fell in love with that shit. Well, it seems like that's all the tracks on that album, but that was just volume 1. Hopefully I do a good enough editing job where it doesn't play too long. More often I just want to get my facial expressions and shit, you know, because I'm listening to these like for the first time in a long time with you guys, so I don't know what's gonna be going on next. But that was all the tracks. That was just volume 1. Hopefully it does a good job on YouTube. It does good. If not, if they don't take it down and just demonetize, you know, whatever, I'll do a better job next time. I'm gonna leave it up. It is what it is, you know what I mean? I just want to put videos out there so people can check them out. So if you like what you heard and what you saw, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, man. I very much appreciate it here on this rainy night. On Sunday, I go to work tomorrow, so hopefully I get out early enough during the week so I can do this with volume 2 for you guys. So thank y'all very much once again, and catch y'all on the next one. Deusa! Ha ha ha!